Hello, everyone, and welcome back to today's market color, being this 15th of July 2025. How are we all doing? Hope we are good. Hope we are fine from wherever part of the country you're joining from, or even part of the world, right? Good morning, Ayo Kende, Jonah, Ayi, Destiny, Emmanuel, Za, Usia, Marlan, Joseph, Mira, Samuel, Clement, Oluwafemi, Oyewumi, Teresa Faruna, and Asain. Good morning. How you doing? Good morning to you all from where you're joining from. This morning we'll be looking at the markets color session, and then looking at US markets. This Tuesday, every Tuesday and every Thursday, we look at the US market and commodity asset class, right? And of course, with US market this morning, we'll be looking at US 30, US 100, and S&P 500. For those familiar with those markets, you understand that we look at them every Tuesday and every Thursday. Good morning. Oluwafemi, thank you. You're the only one that responded to my greetings this morning, since the rest didn't they want to. Okay, Osas has joined. Good morning, Osas. Tips don't like. Good morning. Apologies. We started, I think, 3 minutes late, if I'm not wrong, just due to some, glitch here and there. But then, thank God we're back.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. I greet you, boss. Good morning.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So let's start with US 30. US 30, these guys have been really, should I say, playing with my feelings? Something like that. All right, US 30, we've been overall very bullish on US 30, right? Been very much bullish. Fundamental, still very clear, bullish until I mentioned October. Good morning, everybody. I'm seeing your comments. I greet you all. Been bullish, or we remain bullish, are biased for US 30, and in fact, equities in general, even stock included, till, say, what's it called now? Till August 1st, right? Yes, the 1st of August, because that is when our 001 global and continental 001, I mean the US president, is going to make announcements as regards tariff, and then that will either send the market to the moon, or it will correct what we have, and then start to probably sell or even enter into a range. But then I'm very much bullish all through July, or except we see something unique that probably Russia and Ukraine, they start their own madness again, and then or something around Israel and Iran again, they begin their issues. But if that is not the case, I am very much bullish on this market, right? That bullishness is why we've been always looking for buy opportunity. However, we saw a sell opportunity last week, right? We saw a sell opportunity, which was very interesting, right? If you remember clearly, I marked out this zone. And I stated very clearly that if market comes to this place, we should expect like a sell-off. It's looking like I didn't take this market, to be very fair and honest. I didn't take this market because I wasn't looking at anything sell right at this moment. Although last week was a bit tricky, market was just selling off, right? I didn't take this market, but we've marked out this zone for, if not even last week, we've marked out this zone like 2 weeks ago, right? And then we've stated clearly that this is looking like a clear-cut box pattern for a sell, meaning there's a sweep, a break to the downside, and then price coming into this other block, testing it again, start to sell off to the. It was a good trade, to be fair and honest, but then it's not what I want. I want a setup that I can, even if I need to hold the trade overnight, I can sleep with my eyes closed, and I'm always watching the chart. So this is like a counter trend against what fundamental is doing now. But then it's still a good trade for those that really took advantage of it. Although we also sold off on US 100. That was last week. We sold off on US 100. The trade did pretty well, right? Probably give 1:3 or 1:4, right, before correcting to the upside. We're going to look at that this morning also. Now, what is happening today? The market structure I'm seeing on the 1 hour is hello. Okay. Sorry for that mistake. All right. All right, we can fire on now. We can fire on now. All right. Let's continue. Apologies for that delay. With what I'm seeing now on the 1 hour time frame, in terms of structure, we are looking at a range right now. We are looking at a range with this being the, this and this. Price has been dangling between these guys, right? Let's even go to 4 hour time frame first. 4 hour time frame, we have a clear-cut box pattern that's played out well, right? And then another thing will be me looking at, if I want to trade this with support and resistance, I want this to break above here, right? I want to see a break above here, solid, and then a retest. Price broke truly above this zone, but then it's just a bit weak. It's closed just below it, right? Not enough solid confirmation for me. So I want to see a break above here so that I can follow through with something like this. Can follow through with something like this, break above here, then we continue our movement, right? But then on the 1 hour time frame, when we expand everything, we see that price is currently like in a consolidation, right? It's not bullish, it's not bearish, it's just sideways. The market is kind of ranging, which is good for box pattern, if you'd ask me, right? But then because we have been touching like long-term moves, it can be a bit dicey not to be, you don't want to be caught in all of this consolidation and then price finally breaks to the upside without you being in the move, right? But then let's continue. On the 1 hour time frame, I want to see like price, breaks. That's actually done that in a way. That's actually done that. So there's something I would now consider, which is this here. This is too much of a drawing, but right? This, I want to see a retest of this zone, a retest of this zone. There's a fair value gap above. I also look at that, but then a retest of this zone will be a very good one for me for price to continue the push to the upside. But then on the 30 minutes, let me look if there's something really significant that can really send price up. This is my first zone that I've marked out here, my first area of interest. Although price tested it already, this one is giving me concern now because we've seen a test of that on the 30 minutes order block. So what will I be waiting for this morning? When it comes to US30 and NAS100 and the rest of the asset class, I used to say something, which is if for any reason price does not get to this area of interest before 2:30 or 2 o'clock, before New York market opens, most likely is going to react from the closest order block of fair value gap, right? So price finds it hard or struggles to get to this point or doesn't even get to this point at all, this area that I'm marking out, then you should expect that it's going to most likely, if we're correct on direction, right, it's going to just find the closest order block and fair value gap, tap into that, and then start pushing to the upside, right, by New York market open, right? So for that reason, fair value gap, there's a fair value gap below here, but it's too close for my liking. It's too close for my own liking. So what will I do? I'm just going to go ahead and mark all of this order block that I'm seeing here. I'll still mark this fair value gap. The reason is not to take trade now, is to wait for how it's going to, probably a 30 minutes into New York market open, then I can now see where price currently is, and then with that I can take trades based on that, right? Because technical wise we are very, very much bullish, right? And fundamental too is pointing to the market being bullish, and for that reason I'm just looking out for buy opportunity, right? The main buy opportunity I want to actually stay and focus on is this one, is this zone here. But then will price get to this point before 2:30 markets, New York market open? I'm not sure. We can't decide on that. What we can wait for is to mark out area of interest, right? And I've marked out several areas of interest, not to dive into the market directly, but to wait 30 minutes to when the market is going to open, 10 minutes to when the market is going to open. Wherever price is around that period, we can now take advantage of this area of interest, look for smaller time frame entry, 1 minute entry, box pattern, and then use it to follow price to the upside, right? For a buy to the upside. That's basically what I've been doing since like last month, right? Because I've observed you can have good markup, price gets to this point, before it reverse. Price might not just even touch that area at all, might just come down a bit, 50 pips into your area of interest, and then reverse the upside. So the best thing you want to do is mark out several areas of interest, right? Other blocks, fair value gaps when it comes to US equities, and then wait for New York market open, right? By the time New York market opens, right, the stock market there, you can now take more. Usually there'll be a lot of volume during that period. Then you expect that price is going to tap into one of these areas of interest, and also the closest to where price is. And then with that, we can now, take advantage, send price to the upside, and also join the market. All right, that being said, let's look at US 100 quickly. We had some markup last week on US 100. I'm trying to remember where we were. Also on US 100, we are very, very much interesting. We've seen a breakout. Okay. Let's use correlation, guys. Let's use correlation now. US 100, we've seen a what? Like a breakout to the upside. US 30, what have we seen so far? Have we seen any breakout? No. The answer is no, right? That tells us that if we are going to use correlation analysis, we expect that breakout to happen on US 32. Yes or yes? Yes, right? And if that is the case, what should we be looking at for today? Most likely we should be looking at for a buy, right? Except if fundamentals suggest anything different, then we can now change our bias. But then from correlation, what should we be expecting? Most likely a buy. All right, so let's come back to what we're saying. On US 100, we're seeing it, printing another new high. But for the US 100, why it's difficult to trade it currently as it is now is because there's no reference, right? Price is in a new discovery level. So there's no past information to even judge what exactly is going to, happen, or how far will it go for take profit. But then, if you can risk it, you would want to also jump into it, but then I don't advise that, because there are other markets. You can also trade US 30 and S&P 500, right, which we expect to catch up with Nasdaq as the time goes on. All right, on US 100, we've broken structure, right? We are clearly bullish. We are clearly bullish. We are clearly bullish, right? That being said, what are we looking out for this morning? Most likely, let me look at 30 minutes. Okay, we have some area here that price might want to tap into, and which is this other block here. And the other block sits perfectly well with, what's it called? Structure, support on resistance, right? We've had a break to the upside, a retest, break again above. So if for any reason price comes back here, this zone, we want to consider it a very strong zone, and then we expect that price taps into this, and then you see it sends price to the upside. The question now remains, how far is the take profits? Honestly, it's at your own discretion. Personally, you just want to use like a static risks to reward here. Probably 1:4, 1:3, right? Rather than been, you can leave it open, but then just take something off the market, because we don't know. It can go 1:15, 1:10. We cannot be sure, right? But then there's no reference to say, okay, this is how far it's going to go, right? For this market, Nasdaq, because everything is bullish now. Everywhere is really green, right? With Nvidia leading the way, US 100 is really, really, really green and supposed to be green. If you are doubting it, open your chart on Nvidia and then look at those markets. Look at the individual stock, Nvidia, Meta, Alphabet, that's Google, and Tesla has been slacking a bit, but then this one is a conversation for another day. S&P 500 this morning, S&P 500 on the daily time frame, also in a way kind of created equal high, hasn't broken its own previous high, which is this. Hasn't broken its own previous high, just kind of created equal high, which I believe it's still going to break that. And on the 4-hour time frame, this other block has been tested. Interesting, but let us mark it out. All right, so we'll call it indecision candle, no problem. Has been tested, right? Which is like a break of this previous resistance turn support, right? Resistance turn support here. Price test it to continue to the upside. On the 1-hour time frame, what do we expect? Now, I believe there's also another block there in 30-minute, on the 30-minute time frame. This other block here, I also want to buy, right, on this 30-minute other block. But the condition for that will be price. I want to see a kind of pattern, which is price struggles to sell, right? Let us see like a struggle around this zone. Like price struggling to sell, some like a struggle, major struggle, because we know that by New York market open, what will happen? We see something like this, right? Usually when there's a struggle to sell, meaning there's pressure from buyers. So that we do what? That we send price to the upside instead of reverse being the case, right? Because I mean, if sellers are struggling to sell, yeah, and then price taps into this other block, boom, we should see that buy, that bullish momentum. What is the extent for this? We can say 6,296.51 as the first take profit. By the time price got into this zone, the next thing is to just leave it open, because you can't tell how far it will go, right? And I believe it will still push very, very far, right? That being said, this is what we have for today on US markets. It's a good place to ask a question this morning. Do we have any questions? So far, so good with US 30, US 100, S&P 500. And do we have questions? Probably one of these days we'll start looking at stocks, right? For those that are really interested in holding for long term, can sit on your portfolio, like this game plan on Nvidia. And now I saw when Nvidia was it was really discounted for us to enter for a buy. The same thing with what's it called on Tesla, right? So I mean, but this is not CFD. It's not, there's no leverage applied to these ones. You have to just buy the stock price and buy the share, right? There's no leverage you can use to do 1:4, 1:, leverage, say 1:100, and all of those ridiculous leverage you have in our brokerage firm. All right, guys, do we have any questions so far? Is there any question? Any question for me? Was it well understood? Especially on US markets, right? Do you have any question? Ayoka Inde, Cliff, Destiny, Emmanuel, Innocent, Gold, Isaac, Joseph, N.O., Luafemi, Osas, Pips Don't Lie, Samuel, Clement, Solomon, Teresa, Design. Do we have any question so far? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? All right. In absence of no question, we'll be calling it a wrap for this morning's session. In a way, we were contemplating whether or not to have this because I mean today is a very sad day for the Nigerian government and its citizens, because we lost our former president, right? So we thought it to be, nice just to keep it very, very short so that people can go, this is beyond an individual, it's a nation as a whole, and you have to pay the last respect. So trying as much as possible to keep everything short, and then we turn everything down, right? And different people might have different opinion about this, but then it doesn't matter. I mean, this is a national thing, right? Regardless of who or what, but then it is well. All right, thank you so much for joining this morning. By afternoon session, commodity trading analysis will be coming up from Abigail, right? She'll be extensively dealing with that by 2 p.m. this afternoon, and also looking at other asset classes trading or other asset class she having our eyes on. All right, thank you so much for joining this morning. Everyone that joined, I want to say a big thank you. And please be reminded, our Abuja event is still holding. If you've not registered yet, go to www.valueflowtrading.com/TBC, right, to register and secure your spot, reserve a spot for yourself. It's happening on the 2nd of August, at Abuja, Jabi Lake, Jabi Lake Event Center, right? So ensure you sign up and then reserve your spot so that we can also meet there. Solomon is asking, please, can I attend the event virtually? For now, what we have is tilted towards the in-house experience, but then let's see, we might probably provide an avenue for online streaming, but for now, the entire focus of the event is tilted towards, in-person experience, kind of. But then we'll see what we'll do about that to, get it to at least carry other people who can not be in Nigeria, or who might not be able to attend physically. We'll find something to do about it. But for now, we can't promise anything. It's just tilted to, in-person experience. All right, thank you so much for joining this morning. Once again, ensure you use proper risk management while trading. If you don't see it very obvious, there's no point you should trade it. Emmanuel is asking, what's the normal pattern that unfolds between the session in a day? What is the normal pattern that unfolds between? This question looks vague. Can you explain in clearer terms what you mean exactly? Right? Like what exactly this means? I can't wrap my head around it. What is the normal pattern that unfolds between the session in a day? There are many patterns that unfold. Which one are you talking about? I can't speak, no permission to speak. All right, no problem. Our time is fast spent, but just help me wrap it up in a minute. I've asked you to unmute.
All right. You can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Continue.
All right. So in a normal regular trading day, what is the normal pattern that falls between the commodities we just analyzed? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so the question I meant is, so we have 2 sessions, the London and the UK session. So from the experience so far, what is normally the, pardon?
You have more than 2 sessions.
Okay, I'm just talking about the London and the UK session.
Okay.
So in a trading day, what is the relationship like in a normal day?
Okay, usually whatever happens in London, right, New York continues
Yes,
it,
sir.
right? So for example, say London start in a very normal day, nothing really special, nothing is influencing it, right? So if London start buying, say GBP USD start buying to the upside, and then towards end of London, you will see a retracement, probably 30% or sometimes even 80% retracement, right? Coming down, and then New York market opens it, and then it starts the continuation of the buy. In fact, whatever that's in which year is that? Probably 2022, 2023. Whatever happened in Asia happens in London, happens in New York, right? Asia will start buying, by the time it gets to the ending of Asia, beginning of New York, it will sell off a bit, and then New York, London picks it up, right? Continue the buy to the upside. Then towards the ending of London session to the opening of New York, we see a retracement, and then New York pushes it up again, right? So, but the strength of that push usually happens during New York session. You see those long candles, and then by the time you retrace a bit, you see New York by 2:30, 3 o'clock, and all of those. It changes depending on daylight saving. It sends price to the upside again. If that's a pattern you're looking for, yes, it does happen. Does it happen every day? No. Market team and several things affect how it happens, right? If there's a strong fundament, say for example, the market is buying during London session, and then before 2:30, Trump says something or tweets something that is really against US dollar, or it's not really making sense in favor of US dollar. What will you think will happen? For example, that will also send price up by what's it called? By New York markets, right? Because now the GBP is going to gain strength. But what if Trump says something that strengthens dollar, right? That strengthens dollar strongly. What will happen, regardless of what has happened in London session? Price, we just see GBP USD tank significantly, right? So for that reason, sometimes you just have to be careful about this stuff and see what is happening beyond all of this pattern. What is driving the pattern? What's the theory driving the pattern, right? For like correlation now, when the bag is green on US stock, right? Nvidia is doing well, Meta is doing well, all of that is doing well. What do you expect? You expect US 100 to be bullish. Any sell you're selling, you know you're at your own risk, right? But then, if for any reason your reports, quarterly or yearly reports, looks very bad, right? They didn't meet up their sales targets, or the chip they're trying to produce got burnt, or is not as productive or effective as people thought they were going to be. What will happen to say Nvidia now? Nvidia is going to tank. That is going to affect some other share of companies that are really attached to Nvidia or into AI and microchip. And that in a way we send US 100. You see the effect on US 100, right? And for that, you can now short US 100. So there are different patterns, but you have to read what is happening, behind the scene. What's the theory behind the scene? There's another one, which is like pre-election year and election year. Whenever it's pre-election year, you see US markets rally. All the US markets going to rally. Pre-election year, US market is going to rally. You can check for the past, is it 20 years data? You will see it's correct. Pre-election year, US market is going to happen. It happened last year. Is it last year now? Yeah, it happened last year. We saw that beautiful rally to the upside. Election year is going to rally. Mid-year, year after election, everything is going to start consolidating, right? That's under theory, but you just have to apply it to your reality, right? What is happening on ground? All of this theory, you have to apply. You can't be bullish, extremely bullish on the US market into 2026. Nope, because we expect something out of the blues happen, right? 2026, I'm not expecting that bullishness as I'm seeing it in 2025 and as I saw it in 2024, right? So those are some patterns that happen, but then you have to just read extensively what is the theory behind all of this pattern, right? Because there's a theory even behind the double shoulder and let me just not go into all of those. It's really extensive, right? You have to do like an extensive study on that to really make sense of it. Really help your trading directly in a way, but not necessarily. But then you will know why some things happen, right? And you can really, if you see XYZ, you can predict almost with 90% accuracy, this is what's going to happen, right? And then it makes sense to do that. All right, I will really spend a lot of time. Thank you so much for the question this morning. Destiny, please tell us your thoughts on gold. My brother, I don't trade gold. I've not traded gold, right, for a while now. Just stay on other asset class. But I mean, you know what will happen? Abigail is going to handle that by New York markets, right? If you are already on a position on gold, I can't help you, honestly, right? I will just tell you to trust your analysis, right? But then if it's something you just want to learn what gold is currently doing or what are thoughts on gold, then by 2 p.m., not 2:30, sorry, 2 p.m., when Abigail comes, she's going to undo that extensively and then give analysis on it. Thank you so much for joining this morning. I wish you all a profitable trading. Cheers and God bless everyone. Thank you.